blow my knee out, both knees, and still kick your ass.
We're trying to find the Robbie Hummel statue.
I wanted to kill you.
All right, welcome back. Goodman and Hummel podcast. I'm Jeff Goodman. He's Robbie Hummel, and we got some games, Rob. We got some games under our belt
some
already.
games that you really think highly of, according to your Twitter.
Listen, I wrote a story today slamming the first week of college basketball, absolutely slamming it because, you just don't have enough big boy games. And my whole proposal here, and I talked to a bunch of coaches. I talked to your boy Paint. I talked to Nate Oates, Musselman, Scott Drew, a lot of these guys. And my proposal is get, whether it's 8, 16, whatever it is, there's enough network space for that first week. Now, again, Monday night, you're not having it on ESPN because of Monday Night Football, but you can
just don't start it on Monday night.
Right.
Have the
you
NCAA
start on
push to
Tuesday. That's right. Start at Tuesday. I'm fine with that. Start at Tuesday with a doubleheader on ESPN. Then on Wednesday, you got NBA on ESPN. Put it on Turner. Put 2 games on Turner. Thursday, put 2 games on FS1 if you want. Friday, we already have a Duke Arizona on the Deuce. So you can figure it out is what I'm saying. You get 8 games between Tuesday and Friday, 16 teams, and you put some NIL deal attached to it. So the coaches have a little bit more incentive. Again, what I say is have it a made for TV event on May 1st where you pick the matchups out of a hat or something like that. And that would,
I like that. I mean, anything that we can, and the portal has made it to where there's kind of like an NBA offseason feel for a little bit of time. But
yes.
yeah, anything we can get outside of the season is a good thing.
Are you with me or against? Because a lot of people are pushing back on me here.
Before I answer,
the first week's fine. And I'm like, how is it fine, Rob? I'm going to give you a stat. Monday night, there were 20 top 25 teams that played. Michigan State lost. Take them out of the equation. Take a guess how many, the other 19 teams, what do you think the average margin of victory was in those 19 games?
35.
39 points. 39 points.
I think you even already told me that, so it's a poor a poor job of remembering.
Whatever the case, all I'm saying is there wasn't a close game in the group, and everybody's going to point, well, Michigan State, look, see, there are great games. James Madison beat Michigan State. Again, I'm just saying there should be a couple big boy games every night. If you want to watch those games, you can watch the other ones.
Yeah, right. What before I answer and give my 2 cents, what has been the main reason for the pushback? Just because of looking at coaches are going to say I haven't had enough time to prepare, or why have fans pushed back on your article?
I don't understand it. I don't get, they're like, it's okay. Look at college football, but college football's in a healthier place in a way. There's more interest in college football than there is college basketball. First of all, they have to fight NBA right now. They have to fight the NFL. When college football starts, what else is going on, Rob?
I mean,
baseball.
The NFL has, baseball, and it's in the dog days of summer.
Correct.
I mean, nothing. Right.
And college, let's face it, college football, the ratings, there's only really one big day a week. Everybody can sit home on Saturdays and watch 90%, 95% of what goes on in college football for the week. College basketball, I think you can have that build up. Why not have it? What's the downside, in my opinion? There is none. There's none.
Other than the coach, I guess the downside is that coaches don't feel like their teams are ready to see that level of competition. Yeah. But it's a level playing field. It's not like one team has been playing 6 exhibition games and the other has played 2. And that's why I give Bruce Pearl and Scott Drew a lot of credit for what they did last night. I agree with you. I think that for the health of the sport and just college basketball, to create buzz, to try to make waves alongside the NFL and the NBA and college football, and I mean, even you're fighting the NHL too. There's a lot going on. So in order to break through, and certainly I think college hoops has done that at times, but it's been because there's been an iconic player. When Zion Williamson all of a sudden was doing what he was doing, college hoops becomes a big thing. We
had champions, Rob. We had champions until it got pushed back.
Because and that was a great event
Correct.
to start the season.
That had.
I'm with you. I'm with you. My only thing is that I know that the coaches feel like they want to see more real games before they start playing big time teams. But I think that if college basketball is going to grow and survive, we need more of those types of events like you pitched. I mean, that, or even one-offs like Auburn and Baylor did, or USC and Kansas State did. I commend all 4 of those programs for saying, you know what, we're going to go out and play this. And
I love them at their home atmospheres.
No, I would prefer them to be home and homes, but
whatever.
Look, we'll take whatever we can get right now.
That's right.
So I'm with you. I'm surprised that the pushback has been so substantial in your article.
Yeah, me too. I don't understand the.
Maybe it's because you're not a good writer. Maybe you just didn't put it into words well.
Maybe not. I might not have been clear enough, concise enough with my verbiage, Robert.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk a little Big Ten, because I think the Big Ten probably, other than that Auburn Baylor game and USC Kansas State, USC certainly looked good, and Isaiah Collier looked great in that first half.
Yes, he did.
For the Trojans. I would say the Big Ten to me probably will get the most kind of maybe pushback right now, because I mean, again, you have a top 5 team, a team I picked to win the Big Ten this year, the Michigan State Spartans, and they go out and lay an egg against James Madison right out of the gates. And here's the deal, Rob. If this were a revamped Michigan State team, if this were a team like Indiana, who we'll talk about in a minute, lost 4 starters, right? And they come out and they lose this game, we all would have given Izzo a complete mulligan, right? We would have, okay, we get it. They're going to get better. Izzo had to throw a new team together. Well, like he didn't, Rob. He had most of his team back from a year ago. He added some freshmen that are really talented that he's going to have to try to figure out what their roles are and if he needs to expand those roles. How shocked were you that Michigan? I mean, you had to be like,
I was shocked.
On the shocking meter of 0 to 10, is it a 10?
Yeah, it's a 10. Yeah. Michigan, Tom Izzo's never lost a November home game. Is that the stat that I saw until the James Madison game? I think there's just so many reasons to be surprised. And I had a little more caution on Michigan State compared to you, because they did almost go 500 in league play last year, but they bring back great guards. They bring back experience, and they bring in a freshman class that is elite. Yep. Funny how your tune has kind of changed a little bit here.
Listen, I haven't given up on.
I know, and I haven't either. I have not either. But I did some of the Bulls preseason games, and I just was following along as they got their season started, and they kind of laid an egg on night 1. And Zach LaVine, who I played with and really like, had a quote where it was like, we just didn't come out with the sense of urgency that we needed to. And you're like, it's night 1. Right. And I kind of felt that way about Michigan State too. And, AJ Hoggard didn't necessarily play well in their exhibitions, and he definitely didn't play well outside of his shooting. He didn't shoot the ball well. He had some threes go in and out, but he's not a guy that can play through his jumper. He needs to get in the paint. He needs to make plays for other people, and he needs to push the tempo and take care of the basketball. And that's what he needs, and lead the team. Jaden Akins was very uninvolved at times. Malik Hall did not shoot it well, looked unconfident, looked like he didn't want to shoot. And I still think with Michigan State, I worry about teams just bludgeoning them in the paint. I saw it last year with Purdue. Edey's numbers against them were insane. And look, he's a different beast in that regard. But I also watch Michigan State, and they do the hard hedge almost to a fault. They hedge ball screens and jump out so early that you're just opening lanes to the rim to slip and put your defense in rotation. So I thought James Madison played hard. I thought they ended up out rebounding him. It was like 50-48, which that's not like a crazy number, but the offensive rebounds and the timeliness of the offensive rebounds for James Madison. And I thought they out-toughed Michigan State. I thought they out-competed them. And honestly, Michigan State did not deserve to win the game. James Madison deserved to win.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code $1,500, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
All right. So could you see now an avenue where Michigan State duplicates what they did last year again this year?
Where they go 11-9 in conference play?
Yes.
I think they'll be better than that. I think I still have belief that they will be like a 13 or 14 win team in the Big Ten, but they have some holes in terms of that interior. And I thought Cohen Carr played really well. Got to the offensive glass, good cutter. He's a great athlete. We know that. Certainly had a couple times into the game where some freshman moments, maybe, like he gave up the game tying bucket at the end of regulation because he just wasn't paying attention.
Right.
But I think he is a piece. Jeremy Fears will be interesting to see. We kind of thought that he would be a nice complimentary piece, but maybe he's a guy that you're going to look at him and say, well, if AJ Hoggard's not going to do it, then Jeremy Fears, let's give him a try. And then I just think Xavier Booker seems like he is far away from earning Tom's trust. He is not ready for
Fears
that.
and Carr are going to be the ones that I think Izzo's going to have to figure out. Like, all right, am I going to try to push buttons with Hoggard, with Fears, and see if it works? And if it doesn't, I'm riding with Fears.
But Hoggard ended the season last year playing so well. He was so good in the NCAA tournament, and he looks like a different guy so far. And they need him. And I will say, Tyson Walker, I thought his handle looked tight, and it was like he was playing 1-on-5.
He's awesome
at the end of the game. He was phenomenal scoring it. He had to do it, and he did.
The
only complaint you'd have is
Rob.
He missed a bunch of 1-on-1s, the front ends, and then he missed a bunch of free throws. That would be my only complaint about the way he played.
But if there's one great thing about now, like if you're Michigan State, you're like, all right, we do have a dude.
I love the action they run for him. It's simple. Bring him off a pin down, let him ball.
Which he can do. I mean, I remember seeing him, I think it was his freshman year at Northeastern. And I was blown away right away. I'm like, all right, Bill Cohen found another one here because he always does. And you could see it. But all right, so Michigan State obviously struggles out of the gates. We're concerned, but not ready to push the panic meter yet on Tom Izzo because
they came out against Southern Indiana and looked bad. I mean, they've had some terrible starts. The Tennessee game, they were awful to start the game, and they were not good against. I think they were down to 14 or 15. Weren't good against James Madison. They have got to get off to better starts. That would be a cause for concern if they come out and look like that again.
They'll be fine at the Champions Classic. You watch. Izzo will have them ready next week in Chicago against Duke. And
their bigs are going to have to play better because Kyle Filipowski is a different beast than what James Madison was throwing out there.
Well,
TJ Bickerstaff was.
Remember a year ago. Hey,
but he's not going to be what Filipowski is.
Sissoko going up against Oscar. Now Oscar had just come back from injury. But
Sissoko balled against all the best people. He balled against Gonzaga. He balled against Kentucky. And it was like we didn't really see that guy the rest of the season after that.
We did not. All right, so let's go through Purdue and Indiana because you were at both games this week. And, again, Purdue, we won't spend a ton of time on Purdue, but because they absolutely drilled Sanford. Bucky McMillan and his 5'7.5" guard didn't really hold up for long.
I kind of think that pissed Purdue off, honestly.
You do.
I understand why Sanford did that, but I don't think they felt like it was funny.
It was like mocking almost.
Especially after last year's NCAA tournament deal. I don't think they found that amusing, and the score reflects that. The score certainly reflects that about the result.
What did you learn from Purdue? I did not watch a minute of that game. I'm not going to lie. What did you learn?
You don't work. You don't watch the best teams.
I was at Northeastern VU. I was trying to watch a competitive game. Actually, I went to 2 games that night. I actually saw a women's game with UMass Lowell and 2 Israeli women that I had written a story about. I wanted to go there and support them.
All right. So you actually were working for a change. Good on you.
I tried to work a little bit. So,
all
right. So here's my take. Like, my biggest question is, and I don't know if you could see this against Samford. That's the problem. I have 2 big questions on Purdue. One is, how are Zach Edey and Trey Coffin-Renn going to coexist and play together? 2, Braden Smith and the pressure that he felt last year, being the only real ball handler. Can Lance Jones help in that?
Yeah, I think he alleviates some of that. He's got some burst. He's not afraid. He's not the biggest guy. Lance Jones is not. He's only 6 foot, but he can be a
6 foot. He's that
6 foot,
really?
6'1". He's not big. But I do think that he can alleviate some of those pressures. Samford's a team that presses a lot. They were like top 50 in turnover rate last year, in terms of the forcing turnovers. They'll zone press you, they'll man press you, they'll run and jump you, they'll go. They threw every defense at Purdue in the book. So I think that, not that they can pressure the way that Arkansas can. And I thought Purdue handled Arkansas's full court pressure okay. It was their half court pressure that really bothered them. But I do think that there's not many teams that can pressure the way that Arkansas is going to be able to, with the athletes, the length, and the size positionally that they have. So I think Lance Jones helps in that regard. My biggest takeaway, and I'll get to the Trey Coffin-Renn, Zach Edey 4-5 deal, is that the young Purdue players can really raise their ceiling.
Okay.
Cam Heide is a guy that I think is going to play. And I think that you throw him out there, 6'7", good athlete, can make an open shot.
Yep.
That's something that Purdue needs. They need guys like that. He can straight line drive the basketball. I think defensively, he's not, he was in the program last year, redshirted because he broke his foot his senior year of high school. So I think he's got a good base from what's going on. And I think he's got the physical tools to guard some people at 6'7". So he's going to help. And then Miles Colvin is like a Jaden Ivey level athlete.
Yeah. He
is. His dad's Roosevelt Colvin.
Yes. So
this dude, he's got the genes that are pretty good. His sister's a stud on the Purdue volleyball team. I think Miles is further behind Cam, and rightfully so, because Cam's been on campus for a year or 2, from a understanding of what's going on, especially defensively. But I'm telling you, Miles Colvin is not bashful. When he gets in, he is trying to score, and he is talented enough to come in and change a game. And he can do that, I think, in a game this week, and he could do that even if he hasn't really played in a game in January, if Coach Paint's not happy with some people. As for the 4 against Samford, it didn't matter. Trey Coffin-Renn and Edey can coexist.
But you can visualize it a little bit.
I think it's a matchup-based thing.
Yeah.
I think that at times it will be Mason Gillis. I think at times it will be maybe even a Caleb First, although I think he'll play more at the 5. And I think you could even see Cam Heide there. I think that it will be a ride the hot hand, depend on the matchup, and if they can play 2 posts together. It certainly helped that Trey Coffin-Renn made 2 free throws and made a 3. Like that, and Purdue made 16 threes. If they shoot like that, they were up by, I think, 38 points at half or something like that. And Edey had 7 points, and they hit everybody else. They are playing with more pace, though. Braden Smith is trying to push the basketball. They're trying to get out and play faster, advance the ball.
Work? Well, does that work with
I think it can, because he can run up and down.
He can.
He's a freak. He is a freak athlete for his size. I really think they'll try to play faster. And I was really impressed. They play with an edge. They played pissed off. And I think that's
they're deep,
how they're going to play.
They're deep, but I feel like, again, yes, the Cam Heides are going to take minutes away from some of those other guys that maybe have been in the program that I think Painter have been loyal to in a way, but you got to be more athletic. I think Paint knows that more than anything. Is you've got to be more athletic when it comes to the NCAA tournament. You can play a lot of different guys and play some different ways. But yeah, no, they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be more fun to watch this year for sure.
These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/good. That's linkedin.com/GOOD to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, Indiana. Let's get on to Indiana because I think they're the most intriguing team of the three that we've talked about because you just don't know yet. Like, you have a pretty good idea of Purdue.
Mike Woodson taught more at shoot around yesterday than I've ever seen him in his third year here. So I've been going to his games for 2 years now, and there was more teaching in their shoot around about basic defensive principles, rotations. They lost 6 of their top 9 guys from last year. And I think even the guys that do return, Xavier Johnson only played 9 games. Yep. And Trey Galloway was a good role player, but a role player. And his role is different now. And Malik Renew has a new role.
Yeah.
On top of that, with Galloway and Xavier Johnson, they're going to be tasked with leading the team, which was clearly Race and Trace last year. So you've got that going there as well. And then, I think Mike Woodson is going to have to really mix and match, and their roster is interesting. I will say Khalil Ware was engaged last night. He affected the game in a big way. He had a double-double.
For those that didn't know, for those that don't know, let me just kind of recap. They were down with about 10 minutes left in the second half. Their offense looked atrocious in the first half.
Yeah, offensively, they don't have an identity yet. They are at times you're like, what is the purpose?
They ended up beating Florida Gulf Coast. They did.
Yes. Without Isaiah Thompson, who is their best player.
Right. So my biggest thing watching that game was I thought putting Gabe Cups in there for Mackenzie Mbako was the game changer.
Yeah. I mean, he changed the game with his defensive pressure, and Indiana ramped it up as a unit too. I mean, they started the drives to the paint for a while for Florida Gulf Coast were just, I mean, they were getting whatever they wanted. And Indiana, I feel like they have a little bit of that NBA mentality from a help defense perspective of like be at the nail, which in the NBA is one thing, but at the college level, like some of these, there's not even action. Right. The ball is coming towards you, and you've got Malik Renew trying to guard a shooter. He's just not close enough to the shooter. That happened like 4 times. Chase Johnston is Florida Gulf Coast probably best pure shooter. Maybe it's Isaiah Thompson, but probably Chase Johnson. And they got lucky like 4 or 5 times, but they just weren't guarding him. I mean, they were treating him like he was a non-shooter. So I think on both ends, they've got a long ways to go. They're really athletic. They need to get out and push the tempo. I think they need to get out and pressure. That's how they can impact and help their offense is forcing some turnovers, making teams uncomfortable. And for a long time, they did not dictate anything defensively. But when they came back, they were dictating what Florida Gulf Coast was doing. So
they moved the ball when they went through that stretch too. Cups turned it with his intensity defensively, and then they started actually moving the ball and getting it deep to Reneau.
They got Reneau with Xavier Johnson making plays. They got Florida Gulf Coast into some rotations. For so long, it was like there's just nothing. A lot of standing, a lot of watching. They're clearly trying to figure it out, and they're going to get better. They have so many new pieces. Peyton Sparks didn't play. Not that he could have helped, but that's not like a game changing. He's not going to start for them. He'll come off the bench. I do have a good story though from the game last night. So usually there's a room at Assembly Hall that we can use to use the bathroom, but last night for some reason it was being used by something else, and it's not normally a problem, but there's not many bathrooms in the floor level of Assembly Hall. And across from the announcer's table, there is a single toilet that's in this, but like anyone can use it. So there's a line. So there's like 7 minutes to go before the game. and I'm waiting in line for the bathroom. I finally get in there and I'm like, I gotta hurry. So I use the bathroom and I get done and I'm walking out and there's an Indiana fan that's kind of like standing. He's waiting to come in.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's doing anything wrong, but he's standing in the door. So I kind of tried to slide through. And somehow I caught my back pocket on like the clip that where the lock would go in, and I ripped my pants.
Ripped it.
My back pocket is like totally ripped out of my dress pants. So I'm like, oh my God. And I didn't know how bad it was. I was afraid it might be like all the way. It sounded awful. But luckily my coat was covering it. And then I'm like, I got to stand up and do an interview and people are going to think my pants are ripped. And it was terrible. It was truly.
Nobody said anything though.
Only the stage manager, but I was like, I think I just ripped my pants. She goes, yeah, I can see that's hanging off. It's hanging down off the back.
So you lost the suit out of this deal last night?
I hope that I can maybe patch the pocket, but that looks pretty jank, probably. I'm going to see if I can salvage this, but
The good thing is you're making big bucks now.
yeah, big bucks.
So I think you're all right. I was gonna tweet something, but I didn't know how you take it. I was gonna tweet last night that I can't believe Indiana fans and students. How can you let Robbie Hummel come into Bloomington and can we slash his tires or something like
the first game I ever did in Indiana, it was Northwestern IU. Romeo Langford hit like a game-winning floater. It was a good game. But I'd never been there as an announcer, and I was sitting at the table, just like reading over stuff. I was calling the game with Brandon Gaudin, and this older gentleman I bet he was 75, came up and like I was reading my sheets. I was just holding like something like this and like looking at it, reading over it, and this guy tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, "They're letting you call the game?" like couldn't believe it. I'm like, yeah, I'm here to call the game, and he goes, "It's a tragedy that they would let you call it." And he was dead ass serious. And I thought he was maybe kidding.
Right.
It's like, who says that to somebody, and I get the rivalry. I understand. I get it. And I was like, well, I didn't know what to say. So I was just kind of said, well, I'm just here to do my job, like something lame that someone that's never been approached like this before would say. And he points to the top of Assembly Hall and goes, "They should make you call the game from up there." But you know what? It wouldn't be a good rivalry if he was like, "Welcome to Assembly Hall." Like
totally.
that's not a rivalry. Even if this dude was 75 years old and I was 29, it's a hilarious story. It's pretty.
I feel like it's different now too. Like kids, I mean, a lot of students, honestly, they don't remember you even playing for Purdue. They don't. It was.
Well, tell that to the student last night that was yelling obscenities at me and then talking about Fairleigh Dickinson.
Really?
Tell that to that kid, huh?
All right.
He remembered, or he knew.
Yeah,
No,
there's a
true.
bunch that
I'm getting to the point where I'm old. I'm old.
Yeah, no doubt.
It must suck to be like you because you're really old.
I am really old. I'm really fucking old. Was there anything? I'm going out there this weekend. Before Champions Classic, I'm gonna see. They play Army.
I'll be there.
Huh?
I'll be back.
Are you going for that? Are you doing that game?
Yeah.
You doing the Army game?
Yeah.
With who?
I think Matt Schumacher again. We're running the crew back.
You should go. There's a big volleyball game at 1:00 if you want to come with me and Talia. Big volleyball game.
Jeff, you go to shoot around.
What do
you do things when you call the game? You don't just go to volleyball games the day of the game.
Why not? You just went to shoot around the other day. How much has changed?
Because I have principles. I'll talk to Coach Woodson about what he's done the last couple of days.
All right. That's fair.
That's a valid question. The offense didn't look like it was flowing all that well. How can that change?
Very valid. Very valid. I'd love to know his answer on that one. Maybe bring in more shooters. That would help.
That's the thing, is that floor is going to be. And you know what? You know who played well last night was Trey Galloway. He led him in scoring. But I'm curious, as his volume of shots goes up and maybe the shot quality goes a little bit down because you don't have Puchafino and you don't have Trace who facilitate, what happens to his percentage? I think he took 2 last night and made 1. It wasn't high volume again, but he's just a good player. He's a good basketball player.
He's a great like 5th guy to have on the
totally.
Xavier Johnson is gonna need to be a little bit more assertive. Probably he's going to need to make shots.
He hasn't looked necessarily comfortable doing that, though.
Right.
You know, and not that he can't do it, because I've seen him score.
I wonder if
he's done that with other guys around him who were this first option, second option. And it's just like it. But I didn't feel like their offense was generating anything for anyone, really. You know, it just
he's trying to be a point guard.
That's why, to me, transition is their friend. Any made or missed shot, I just think they got to get it and let him use his speed and try to find and steal some buckets.
Yeah, because even their bigs, and they've got kind of 3 of them, I still think Mbako is a 4. But whatever the case, he can go. Khalil Ware can go.
Yeah,
Purdue can go. Like, all those guys are athletic bigs.
And I think they are pretty high on the Sparks kid from Ball State.
He's fine. I mean, he put up numbers. Yeah. He's a good backup.
They like him, and he's big and apparently more athletic than he was last year. So,
was there anything like Bob Knight when you were there? I'm curious for Sunday. Obviously,
I think Sunday they'll do something, I would assume, because it's Army.
Yeah.
And it was the Bill Garrett game. So Bill Garrett was the first African-American player to start in a Big Ten conference game. And they honored him. So that was already planned.
Got it.
There was things around the arena that said, in remembrance of Bob Knight.
Not a whole lot, though.
But they also did stuff, I know, at the exhibition game against Marion. They had already done that. But I would assume they'll do something.
There's no public. The part that has surprised me, there's no like public memorial. There's nothing like that. The family didn't really want anything like that.
Yeah.
And that I don't know. I just feel like that's sad to me. It's sad that they don't have legitimately a day devoted to Bob Knight, where you bring in former players to honor him. Now they'll do it. They'll eventually, I would hope, build a statue out front.
No, I'm sure you would think that's coming. There's still some people at Indiana, though, that are associated with Bob Knight in the terms of like they work for him. Dr. Rank is still there.
Yeah.
Tim Garl is still there. Those guys knew him really well.
Yep.
But I do agree. You would think that there'd be something like former player wise.
Yeah.
But maybe they did do that. I don't know. It was the game was on for Marion BTN Plus. So I don't know if they did do something in the arena during a timeout but I would assume that with the Army connection, there will be something there.
Don't you have a good game Friday night?
Yeah. Ohio State, Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
A&M. Is Julius Marble suspended? Something's going on.
Yes, Buzz Williams hasn't gotten exactly what it is, but it's got to be a suspension. There had to be something legally, it sounds like, going on right now.
But he's still on the team?
I believe he's still on the team, but can't practice, can't play.
Yeah, Ohio State didn't play all that well against Oakland. They
were in danger of losing. I mean, Holtman. Listen, I love Chris, but he's got to win this year. Like he cannot have another year anything similar to what happened a year ago, or those fans are going to chase him out of Columbus.
They've got the talent to be good this year. I was kind of surprised, and I haven't watched the game yet. I will this afternoon. I was surprised to see that Jamison Battle started at what looked like the 3. Yeah, they started Evan Mahaffey as well.
Shocking.
I just thought that they would go Battle at the 4 to kind of use that as a mismatch for him being able to drive and shoot. And I don't think
worried about
Scotty Middleton didn't drive, or he didn't start either.
No, but he was good. I think Middleton.
Yeah, he had a bunch of offensive rebounds.
Middleton was fine. Roddy Gale was good.
He was good.
And Zed Key, who's lost a bunch of weight and I think came off the bench.
He did.
He could score. The big thing with Zed is defensively, and Akpara will give him that defense and that length, but he's not going to give you really anything offensively.
He's not going to score with his back to the basket as much. Not like Zed Key can.
So you got that Friday, and then are you gonna go to Xavier Purdue Monday or no?
I don't know. I thought about going, but
it's a night off for you.
I'm gone so much, and I could definitely get ahead for the next week. I might go.
If Xavier was really good, which I don't think they're gonna be early.
Well, they're just so hurt. They're so injured.
Yeah, I mean, two starters, 2 of your best players are out for the year.
You're doing a show?
We are. Yeah, we're doing a show after. Yeah.
Man, you always know how to get a free trip and a day rate. Well done.
We forked over. I got Dustin to fork over for the nice hotel right on campus.
That's the Union Hotel is legit. That's good. You guys could even walk to the game if you wanted to.
They got a big time hotel. Where do you stay in Bloomington, by the way? Where's your spot?
I can't divulge that information.
What do you mean? They're all about the same. I've done all of them.
Yeah, I was at the Spring Hill Suites this last time. It's fine.
It's fine. They need a big time hotel there.
I don't.
The best one I think is a Graduate.
But I don't like staying at Graduates because I want hotel points.
I know. I'm with you.
So if I'm going to be out, I don't want to waste it on a hotel that I can't get points at.
The Courtyard in Bloomington's awful.
I've stayed there. Actually, we stayed there when I was playing, and surveillance video caught a drunken student peeing on our bus.
It's a bad spot. It's a bad. That one's not great. The Hyatt might be, other than points.
The Hyatt's decent, but again, I'm trying to stay at a Hilton or Marriott, mostly a Marriott.
You know what's good for me? They got a Sweetgreen now in Bloomington.
Sweetgreen's good.
Great. Big time.
Yeah.
For my
I think we turned you on to Sweetgreen.
What's that?
Didn't we put you on the Sweetgreen?
Maybe. You might have.
We did.
I like it. I like it.
It is good. It's good.
All right. Well, listen, thanks for everybody for joining. We'll see you next week. We'll have some really good games again to talk about next week. Again, Rob's got Ohio State, Texas A&M Friday. I'll be at Duke, Arizona. We'll do something after Champions Classic. We'll probably do a pod maybe Wednesday, depending on Rob's schedule, or Thursday next week, and we'll break it all down for you. But thanks for